Man, it's an honor to have you here. Like, you're one of my heroes. You're one of my teachers, like local. You've made a difference in so many lives. Coach Andy here and Brian Pirata, everybody down the line actually that I've ever had like help us with the Muay Thai, and so many people around LA, they've been your students. And it's really an honor to, you've cornered me, you've helped me so much over the years, and it's been too long. It's too long, so I really appreciate you coming in.
Well, likewise, Alberto. It's an honor for me. Thank you for having me out here. And yeah, I remember having you there. We had some fun, man. We had some good times. I remember when me and Justin Fortune were out in Arizona with you, and we were like all excited. Oh man, I hope he knocks this guy out. Oh yeah, you so.
It was in Canada. Winnipeg, Canada.
Canada too. But weren't we in another one too? And
maybe, yeah, Arizona, yeah.
And you choked the guy out in like 30 seconds. I was like, oh, dang. I mean, a win's a win, but that was fun.
I remember you stuck me in because I didn't have a stand-up background, but you snuck me into one of the smokers, first fights, just for me to get some stand-up experience. I had a pro card, but I didn't have really too much stand-up experience. And so you stuck me into one of the Muay Thai smokers up in Santa Clarita.
Yeah, I think Chuck Liddell and John Hackelman was there.
Yeah. I think I fought one of their guys. I had one of their tough kids.
They were good. They were bangers.
Man, so how many years have you been teaching Muay Thai?
Gosh, man. Well, I'd started doing Muay Thai in the 80s.
In the 80s?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember seeing in Black Belt magazine some of those old school,
especially Inside Kung Fu. Inside Kung Fu they did a lot of stuff on Muay Thai too, and my wife was one of the editors of that stuff, also June Castro. But in the '80s started, and then went to Thailand in '91 at Sityodtong. That's where I started at Sityodtong. That's why it's so great for me to carry the Sityodtong name. I'm really proud of that because when I went, it was like at the end of the golden age. So, I mean, Nung Pichit, Chachai Paisatong, Samat Piakalun had just retired, Gong Tawny, his brother Kru Gong, all those legends were there. And my first trainer was, I got to work with Dao Tong, the first champion of Sityodtong, and he was the main trainer, and Kru Walter was there. He was very active too at a later age. He really inspired me too. The guy didn't drink, smoke. He had a couple wives, but he was a really well-versed. He had such a toolbox with his Muay Thai, and I also like that he didn't hide anything from the foreigners too. No secrets, and that was really important because like many martial arts, especially the Asians or any they keep it for themselves.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu back in the day
jiu-jitsu too. Yeah. So that was really good.
They want to share the secrets.
Exactly. But I was lucky to get with Kru Walter, and he really took me under his wing. He really did. I had a Thai girlfriend at the time, and her mother-in-law, or her mother, had brought me to the camp, and I had her ask Kru Walter, because I couldn't speak Thai back then. I had her ask him, hey, don't just sit me in the corner or have me kick the bag like the other foreigners. Ask him to give me a good trainer and to, show me some stuff. And he did. He did. He really, he laid it out. It was great.
What was the story? You'd always tell us stories about him, like he won the lotto?
2004. Kru Walter won the lottery. Not a huge, like a USA lottery, but a couple mil still. I mean, he did well with it. But the thing about it was he gave all the money away to the poor. I mean, there were literally people lining up at the camp. And it was kind of funny because I went back the next year after he won the lottery, and all my friends and trainers, they were all driving BMWs and had houses, and that's awesome. I mean, you don't really hear about that.
He gave it out to everybody?
Yeah, you don't really hear about that You know, in America, oh, someone won the lottery, they gave all the money away and helped out all these communities. I've never heard that. So, I mean, it's just the type of person that he was, and a really good leader. I believe you have to lead by example. If you don't like show people the way, especially young, like knucklehead kids that are probably going to end up in prison if they don't have the right mentor. Mentors are so important. I mean, you had them coming up, you know, I see one right there, you know,
yeah.
And it's vital to your growth.
You can go one way or the other
Exactly.
way, another way. Yeah. So I remember you would always share with me too, like when you were younger, like you were like, how did you start into your Muay Thai journey?
Well, my dad was a boxer when I was a kid, but he didn't show me much, and he was a club fighter, and my Uncle John too. They were tough guys.
You used to have some crazy dad stories.
Yeah. My dad was he was a tough dude. I mean, there was no spanking. I mean, you get your ass beat. But it toughened you up, but it's not a way to raise a kid.
Where did you grow up?
Indiana, Midwestern farm boy. But my father, pretty much just put the gloves on and we duked it out, kind of. You know, I didn't know what I was doing. He busted me up, and I was like, man, I don't want to do this. And then, like a lot of kids my age, almost all of them, we saw Bruce Lee enter the Dragon, and it was all over. It's like, wow, that's what I want to do. You know, I mean, Bruce Lee motivated, still to this day. I mean,
it's crazy.
He was doing MMA, in the early 60s? It's unreal. I mean, I learned a lot of grappling from Gene LaBelle, too. Gene just passed away.
Yeah,
that's a major icon in the grappling in the MMA world, but Bruce got a lot of influence with him. He also got influence from a lot of Thai boxers when he was, the story was working in Thailand, which was a cheap place to film, and moving around with some of the like the extras and the stand-in guys. And the guys in Thailand, I mean, national sport of Thailand, not so much anymore because soccer's kind of took over, but, you know, especially back then, they all could fight Muay Thai. You learned it in gym class. And the story was, I mean, Bruce got tested pretty good. And at that point, he was smart. You know, he said, you know, I've got to learn this. I've got to make this part of my arsenal. And that's why I think later, Dan Inosanto and Richard Bustillo, I got into Jeet Kune Do. I mean, that was what really motivated me. That was really what got me interested in Thai boxing too, and how I met my first teacher. But the first one that told me about Muay Thai was my cousin Jack, who was another mentor of mine. He was a Vietnam vet, helicopter gunner, crazy dude. I mean, I don't know if you ever met him. He came out to visit me before.
You used to tell me some of these family stories, your dad's stories.
Yeah.
And you're a kid. He told you to stay in the car. I don't know, something like that, you know. And he went out there.
Yeah, I think he ended up getting in like a gun battle with somebody. I mean, in south side of Chicago, you know. So, but anyway, this my cousin was the first mentor that really told me about Thai boxing and what it was. And at the time, I was a little kid, maybe like second grade. I started doing karate, real traditional stuff, you know. It's all we had in Indiana: wrestling, boxing, some karate, nothing, you know, very progressive or anything. So I was doing that, and he was like, if you really want to learn a martial art that, you know, is effective, that you can fight with, it's straight up dangerous, you need to learn Muay Thai. And I was like, where am I going to learn that around here? So when I ended up moving to California in the 80s, in 84, I think, I was
What made you move out here?
I was a guitar player. And I went to music school out here. I was a GIT, metal guitar player. And everything, really. But came out here, and then I got, you know, tired of the whole scene with, you know, playing in bands and bars and being around all the drugs and alcohol. So I got out of that. And I got back into martial arts. And then at that time was when I found the Jeet Kune Do with Richard Bustillo. And that just changed the way I looked. I still like the JKD concepts a lot because they include what works, you know, and Thai boxing was a big part of it. Now, I guess you need grappling. I mean, you do. You need striking. But for me also, I mean, I got deep into firearms the last couple of years. I'm on a competitive shooting team. I started training some people in the competitive shooting world, and next thing you know, I'm just and then dog training too.
But so when did you move out to LA, California?
84, I think.
84. Yeah. So the 80s, that was like the progression, right? There was like karate, and then it progressed. That was like the, you know, before in the 80s, 70s, right? That was like the, you know, the tough guys, like the real fighters were like karate guys. And then it kind of moved into Muay Thai, right?
Mm-hmm. In the late 80s.
Late 80s, okay. Yeah. And so you were in the forefront. There was before they had jiu-jitsu or grappling, right?
I think the UFC was just getting its start.
I think the first UFC was 93. So
Was
it was,
it?
yeah,
Wow.
it was those years before, right? Because I remember
After I got back from Thailand. And those guys...
Because I lived in New York, and you know, they had the magazines and stuff, and I was a fan, and the Muay Thai was where it was at. That's what you wanted to learn.
Yeah. Because I mean, it was the
Gracie Jiu-Jitsu or Jiu-Jitsu wasn't even on the
not yet
on the radar, you know.
No, not yet. But they made their mark.
Yeah.
I mean, they proved that it worked, and the same thing with Thai boxing. I mean, they proved it worked. They invited, you know, the teams from Hong Kong and Japan and the karate teams to come over, and I don't like to compare other martial arts.
Right. Everybody has their place, right?
Exactly, and you know, in the beginning, I would like, I don't go for that Ninja Turtle crap or nothing. But you know what? Some guys can make it work, and you'll look real foolish and real stupid if you get KO'd by that, you know? And you were just talking shit.
Going back to the Jeet Kune Do, right? Like whatever it works for different times, right?
Yes.
Like being open to all the things. I did the same thing, right? Jiu-Jitsu, I was like, we're the best, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, you can learn everything from everyone.
No doubt. No
So
doubt.
Being open to that is important.
And when you stop, you know, start thinking that, you know, you got it all, that's when it can really expose you.
Yeah. One of the things I loved about Sityodtong, LA, your gym was just the environment, you know, the culture, like just the very traditional things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you educated me on all these things. I remember still some of the Thai words, like, you know, or the their commands or what, but top mala, fun sa, the elbows. Mm-hmm. So like, you know, just it was so ingrained because I really I got all in. I remember bringing some of the MMA guys, you know, the professional UFC
some
guys,
famous guys,
Rio Shonen, you know.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I think we were the only ones doing that at that time.
Yeah,
you know, really. Yeah. And when we went to Thailand, we already knew some stuff and could communicate with the Thais, and it made them more comfortable. And when that happened, they'd show you more.
Yeah.
So, but I looked at it this way, Alberto. If they're going to let me carry the name of a famous camp like Sityodtong, I better do it right. I better adhere to the traditions. I better teach the pre-fight ceremony. I want to have them know the terminology, and I want to have them know about their camp. Sityodtong means sit, come from the Thai word luksit, means student. Yodtong Senanon, students of Yodtong Senanon, the founder. Also, the other meaning, the elite of the elite in Muay Thai. A yod tong is actually the ball on the top of a flagpole, tong meaning flag, so kind of can be loosely translated to a flag that flies above, right? Like the Marines putting in the American flag on Iwo Jima, right, after they conquered that. It's kind of what it means.
Yeah. Man, I'm grateful I got to meet him. I guess that one time I went, you know, he was still good and healthy.
Exactly.
Wow, you know, when was that? That was 2000
1, 2,
7 or 8.
Was it that
I think
late?
so. I think so because my son was born.
No, I think it was before that.
2006.
Because it was, who was with us too? Orlando Sanchez,
Ozzy, Andy. Andy was there.
Yeah, Andy was there. I remember Andy shaved his head.
He's got a mustache. No mustache, no hair. You're like, who is that guy?
I remember his brother tell him, "Are you trying not to get laid or something?"
He was committed.
Tell you what, he was fun. Yeah, he was fun. Good fighter too.
Yeah, good person.
Very
person. Good. Yeah, I remember one night when I talked to him about coming here. It's like I gotta ask Kru Walter to make sure that he gives his blessing.
That's the right way to do it. I mean, you got to remember we didn't just like wake up one morning and be like a Muay Thai champion or knowing all this stuff. We got to give credit to where credit is due. And the same goes on. It's part of your lineage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Karma. A lot of people they don't think it's important, or they don't give value or give credit, right, where credit's due.
I think it's even worse now with all the, doing it for likes or something.
Yeah. But it was cool, and I remember the clinch work. Loved your clinch work. Like I brought a lot of the guys over just because of that, I remember your knees too.
Oh yeah,
your knee, me.
Oh yeah,
the ribs
many times.
Man, so that's a lot of years. It's a lot of years.
No doubt.
So in the 80s, and then how did it evolve to you opening up Sityodtong?
Funny story with that. I fought co-main event at Pattaya Stadium. I don't think it's around anymore. It's a stadium. It was called Pattaya Nua. And I fought Photong Soft Priyapan. He's a pretty known Thai fighter. And it's kind of a funny story. I at the time, they didn't really trip out on the Thais wearing a mouthpiece or not. I mean, if you wore it or you spit it out, they wouldn't even really care. Like over here, they would stop the whole fight. Okay, put the mouthpiece
Can you
back
buy
on.
mouthpieces in there?
Yeah, of course, you can buy them. But anyway, so I got in the ring with this fella, and I heard his crew talk, or his coaches talking to him in the corner, and they were telling him, falang gin mu means like, gin is to eat, mu is pork, a pig, like, and it's an expression they use like piece of cake, like, oh, this foreigner's gonna be a piece of cake for you. And I heard that, and I can speak Thai pretty well, so when I heard that, I got pissed. I was like, all right, we'll see about that. Okay, it's gonna be a piece of cake, huh? And we go to touch gloves, start the fight. He spits a mouthpiece out too, and I thought, oh, dude, I'm gonna knock you out. And we exchanged a little bit, and dude was a hard kicker too, man. He landed a couple heavy kicks, and I was like, oh. So I tested his jaw a little bit, and I ended up cracking him on the jaw with the right hand and KO'd him right on the ground. I never did this before either. The guy was out on the ground, eyes wide open like a dead corpse. And the crowd got quiet, and I didn't know what to do for a minute. I looked down this guy, man, I'm a sportsman. I don't want to kill you. And finally, after like a minute, he woke up, and then everybody's clapping and this and that. But so after I win that fight, I go back to the camp, and all the like Sityodtong and Kugong and a bunch of the big wheels all sitting around. And I guess Gong Tolani had told Sityodtong that my wife and I were opening up our own gym.
Okay.
So Sityodtong comes up to me, and he says in Thai, Walter, you open up your new gym, it's going to be the Sityodtong, L.A. You understand me, boy? Khao Chai Mai? I'm like, yes, sir. Khao Chai Kap?
Okay.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a franchise or a contract or anything like that, or even me asking him, because when I came back to the States, in Hollywood and LA, there's a big Thai population, and all my Thai friends were asking me, how did you get to have the name Sityodtong? How much did you pay him? I mean, geez. I was like, I didn't ask him. He ordered me to, it was a direct order, like almost like a military thing. And at that point, I was so proud too. I was like, I made it already. I mean, was like my mentors, and I looked up to. I was watching like Samat for years before I ever went there. And to train with those guys too, and Nung Pi Chit, who cornered me a couple times too. But yeah, that was just like, wow. So that's how, after going there for years, back and forth, and then fighting that one fight, and then now they want me to have the Sityodtong camp. I mean, I was like, yeah, that's why I was teaching all you guys all the names of the techniques.
Yeah, it was all legit, so legit. I appreciated that. And you would bring out, Samat and Kru Gong.
Yeah. I brought out mostly guys from Sityodtong camp or affiliated with it too. But I did have a couple others though too. Saeksan Janjira and Gansuk Sopinjit and some other really, really awesome legends too.
Yeah. And then they started having like professional Muay Thai events, right? In California?
When that kind of really got going was, remember when, was it Hoist that fought Matt Hughes at the Staples Center?
Okay. That was years later.
That's when they made Muay Thai legal in California because
it was illegal.
Yeah, it was illegal.
It was a different rule set.
Right. You could only kick the legs, no elbows, no knees to the head. I think they allowed you to do knees to the body, which is pretty much like amateur Muay Thai now.
Wow. Okay.
So after they did that, they had the UFC. The Muay Thai community kind of, mentioned to them, hey,
you can do everything.
Yeah,
in the UFC and MMA.
Give us a shot here.
Yeah.
So then they allowed it, and at that point, I actually started fighting again too. I was retired, but I was too old. I probably shouldn't have did it. But you know how it is fighting. You're like, you can't quit.
Yeah. I remember seeing some of those posters that were hung in your gym, from those fight events, and you see like, Dwayne Ludwig and
Holly Holm,
yeah,
yeah,
and
some Kong Nepal was on one, Ole Larson, some famous Kunpon, some famous fighters they brought over, Koban, so
they would fly people in from all over the world right, to fight, And I remember reading about them in the magazines because that's how it was before the internet, right?
Yeah. I think right at the beginning of the internet, huh?
I mean, maybe.
No social media.
I just remember, no social media, like maybe, but they didn't really have too much like striking, stuff on the internet. Well, I didn't know where to find it, and I think it was mainly the magazines where you got your information from, right?
Yeah.
If you made it on the magazine, you made it. You're famous, right?
Kinda.
Right? People know about you. You're in Black Belt magazine, your Kung Fu magazine,
in the martial arts world too. But it's not like you're Brad Pitt or something. So
right, but in the what was it? Some of the some of the bookstores before Barnes and Nobles? There was where some of those old bookstores that you could get the magazines at.
All over, yeah. Newsstands.
Newsstands, yeah. That's where those things are huge. Now you can barely find them, right?
That's too bad. Those were cool.
Everything's online.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and then you would bring a team to Thailand every year. Yep. Yeah, every year.
Throw them to fight. Some bigger places, some smaller. I always love to start people out where we all started out. Best Friend Bar in Pattaya. I don't know if you went with
Best Friend Bar.
Best Friend Bar. Picture this. Here's a bar, bunch of little mini bars, ring in the middle, tattoo shop at the back of it. All the waitresses are prostitutes, and they're dressed in like Victoria's Secret lingerie and stuff. And it was just a fun place. I mean, you could go in there and anybody could fight, but they knew what time it was. I mean, if you were an experienced fighter, you came from a camp, you may be fighting somebody with 70 fights at Lumpini Stadium, So they had all different levels. I mean, if they had a drunk sailor dude that just wanted to fight, they'd set him up with somebody, you know, and it was no weigh-ins. They would just eyeball you. But they don't have it anymore. I don't know what happened, but that used to be so fun. We would just go there and hang out and watch it. And just,
I remember, you know, because I took a D with me. We went, you know, I wasn't able to go with the group, but I got to hang out with you guys that one of the days, right, and eat together and, you know, train a little bit, you know, and experience a little bit because I wanted to. I was like, I have to go. But you know, even we went to the Phuket and the PP Islands, you know, and even there's barely anything going on, but they have a ring and a place for people to fight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Place to vacation, and you I guess you just fighting, traveling to Thailand, right? Some fun, you know, fun, unforgettable times.
Yeah,
bringing guys out, you know, like going back when you started like really training, and you're like, you came to, you know, to music school, right, in California. You started training Muay Thai. What are some of the things that you felt that were changing you, that for the good? What are some of the things that you saw happen that made you a better person?
That's a great question, Alberto. I think with my personality, I probably would have ended up maybe in prison or something, or doing some really negative activities. And I needed something that was serious enough for me to keep me straight, to keep me living not necessarily like a monk or anything, but a pretty modest life. I mean, as a fighter, you know, you can't really maybe put on this persona like, you know, you're Superman. But the truth of the matter is, if you're out partying all the time, if you're not watching your diet, if you're not keeping up with your maintenance level, what I stress this a lot with the people I train in terms of, you know, competing. It's all done through maintenance. I mean, if you're going to get in tip-top shape, like you're going to fucking Olympics or something, and get ready to fight, that's great. But when you finish your fight, you're either celebrating nonstop or you're so busted up and hurt that you're killing the pain, and you can wind up with some addictions. You can wind up, you know, not being able to follow up on a successful career. You can wind up getting a good offer and not being able to produce, and those offers don't last. I mean, as you get older, the availability for you to get good situations in terms of fighting are gone. It's a young man's game. Injuries too. I've seen guys that are not maintaining, you know, they put on 30 pounds, come back in the gym, and then they start sparring or doing the same activities that they did while they were, you know, on their super sharp level, and they get hurt. They get hurt, and it can be really bad. You might get into a gym war, and you got that ego, and there's no quit in us too. So we're not going to stop. And then next thing you know, you get, you know, torn rotator cuff, or you know, torn meniscus on your leg. Oh, I can't run, or who knows what it is. Maybe you get in trouble, you get locked up, or, you know, get some girl pregnant or something like that. I mean, stuff happens in life on life's terms. You're always going to have things that happen in life. But I think the key to maintaining a successful career is through maintenance. And I think that also the
lifestyle, staying in the
lifestyle
gym,
is
living it.
It is a lifestyle. And number two, another thing is the difference between an amateur and a professional. The difference between an amateur and a professional has to do with fundamentals. Fundamentals with a professional is, I don't wonder if I can pull it off. I know I can do that each and every time perfectly, 100% without failure. But an amateur mindset, oh, you know, I hope I can do this. This one's not really solid for me. I like to do this. I'm not sure. And that's the difference right there. Another thing is coaching and mentoring is real important. The most important thing about a relationship between an athlete and a coach is based on honesty. I mean, you have to be able to tell someone, hey, you know what? You can't do that. You know, fucking up. And that's got to change right now. Or if someone's doing something good, you got to be able to tell them, you know, and not, I don't believe in patronizing my students or clients or anything to give them false hope. But if someone's doing something good, I'll tell them, hey, that looks real good. Keep doing that. You'll be a world champion. And you'll see them light up, and they get a lot of inspiration from that. And that's important, you know, because some of us are doubting. We hear those voices, and you get a lot of people in your ear telling you this, that. Oh, don't believe him. Don't do this. You have to be pretty one-dimensional and focused on what you're doing, you know, and that's it. I got a lot of that influence from a physical therapist and a mental coach named Andre von Kamene that was an Olympian on the Dutch Olympic team. And he's the one that, you know, got me into talking about coach-athlete relationships and how you deal with that in a more positive way to get more success out of the athletes for their career.
Like, you know, I was asking you, like, what are some of the things that happened to you, like when you first started training Muay Thai and like it really changed your life, you know, really brought you in the right direction? What are some of the things that started to happen to you? Like, man, this is good for me. Like, this is, you were saying it gave you focus, right? And had you stay on the path, right?
Yes.
What are some of the things?
That was the main thing, was discipline.
Okay.
Number two was doing Muay Thai. There's something about it just makes you tough. I mean, getting kicked in the leg like that so often, the knees to the ribs all the time, yanking on your neck like that all the time. I remember the first time I went to Thailand, I'm at a stoplight and everybody's on all these scooters and it's packed, right? And
mopeds.
Yeah, and I'm going to cross the street. I'm walking and I couldn't even look to the side to look at traffic. My neck was so sore. I had like a old dude in traction after a car accident. But yeah, so it just toughened me up so much. And it also showed me that being big and strong and muscle bound doesn't necessarily cut it. I remember getting thrown around by 14-year-old kids guys that were built like girls almost, and just like tossing me and throwing me out of the ring. And I was like, yeah, it was all leverage and technique and how to use same in jiu-jitsu. I mean, you got to use that balance, and you guys call it posture and things. It's the same stuff. And I like that about the integration with jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, because when you get in the clinch, you guys picked up on that real easily, where some don't. They just stay outside and do the kickboxing range. You can't do that because that's going to expose you. It's like links of a chain. Every link of your chain has to be there, because if one's weak, it'll break. You'll be exposed. And if you're fighting that person, you're going to try and see what they're doing. I mean, the first thing that I did when I went in the ring and fought somebody is seeing how they moved, how their stance was, and I could see what's going to be open. You know, and maybe I'd test a few little things, see how they react to the fakes or the punches, see how they react to a low kick, how is their checking ability. Because if you get a guy that you're up against that has a good check to the low kick or any kick, if they use those shins to block really well, you kick it once and you're like, oh, gee, I think I'll try something else, you know?
Like the clinch game, right? Do you feel like that's one of your strengths, right?
I think
known for?
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things that I love to learn from you. Always, you know.
Yeah, but you're a jiu-jitsu guy too, so that's going to be something you excelled at.
Right, but it was you were really, you would throw me around, you know, with some of the different types of clinches too, you know.
Well, there's really 3 different types of clinches. There's the
inside,
the neck. Sometimes they call it plum. Plum just means to wrestle. So it's not really totally correct to say that. And then the lycan, which is the shoulder and the arm clinch.
Biceps,
I was like just
lycan, I remember that.
Yeah, really into doing that because it was so versatile and you could have so many different options with it. So a little more advanced too.
I'd never seen that until I started training
Yeah, a
with
lot
you.
of people just thought that it was just grabbing the neck and kneeing somebody, but it was much more. And then also what they call the L. L is your hips in Thai. And
like kind of like a low back clench kind of
like
position.
a bear hug type of thing. Arching the back and using that. So those three, and then what they do is they integrate and mix and match like different things like, oh, I got the arm and the neck, or I've got the here and I fish in. It's a whole different, it's a different range of combat.
Off balance you to get set up a knee or a punch or elbow or whatever.
Especially elbow. But I don't want to say that that's, my favorite or anything like that. Of course, I really liked it. I guess more because in the States, people weren't doing it much, and we would pretty much own them when we fought them if we were good in that range. But you got to have boxing. You got to have some hands. You got to be able to sting somebody with some punches. You got to know how to throw your elbows. You want to throw your elbows so you're hitting with the proper striking surface, which is the bone. Some people are making fists when they elbow, and they turning their arm at the wrong degree, and they end up hitting with the muscle, and then they wonder, wow, I never cut anybody. That's why. And then the kicking range, I mean, having your shins so conditioned like they do, kicking the sandbags, and just getting used to banging each other with their shins is when I first got kicked with that, or even took a block, I was like, wow, I got to learn this stuff. I mean, it makes you a believer. Yeah. It really does.
Yeah. Little guys, right? Being able to off balance you and set you up, throw you down on the ground like you're weightless when you weigh a lot more than them.
But back to your other question, Alberto, I think that one of the aspects about Muay Thai is, and if you get deep into this, there is the history of it, the war between Burma and Thailand. Now, Thailand was never taken over by another country, and they were in a few skirmishes, one being the Burma tried to take over Thailand. I don't remember exactly what year, but the famous story is Nikanom Tom. I think I probably told you about this because I used to make everybody know about
history lessons. Yeah.
Nikanom Tom was the Thai soldier that was captured by the Burmese, and they ended up arranging fights. They found out that he was a famous Thai boxer, and okay, we'll put our best guy against your guy. They fight to the death. And you remember the old Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, dipping the hemp rope in the broken glass and then fighting. Okay, they really did that stuff. I mean, it's all part of history. It's in the history books. And in Thailand, they teach it in the schools. It's kind of like in America when they used to teach George Washington chopped down the cherry tree and I cannot tell a lie, stuff like that. So it's a fable. So anyway, they put Nikanom Tom up against the best Burmese warrior. And Nikanom Tom kills him. I mean, he takes him out pretty quick. And I guess the Burmese king was like, well, that wasn't our best guy. They throw in another one. Not too long after, they take him out. Oh, well, they hypnotized us with this pre-fight ceremony, which is pretty, the Muay Kru and the Ram Muay is pretty mystical, and there's some mojo to it. I mean, it's pretty much like, I always like that part of it too, because it's like the kamikazes drinking rice wine before they went to their death, you know? I mean, when they do the Muay Kru ceremony, it's almost like these warriors that are hey, I may die in here, you know? And it, like most of the sakyants and the Thai tattoos that they do with the needles and stuff like that, with the monks doing it, most of them, the common thread is they will have to do with protection a lot of times. So a lot of Thais believe that, you know, if you're have the sakyants or you're wearing the Buddha and stuff like that, that you can take a bullet. I mean, and I remember when I was staying in Rayong at this camp called Sa Panajapet. There was some trainers from Sityodtong that were there, and I ended up going over there for a while. And it was owned by the owner was a Thai military general, I think Special Forces or something. They were hardcore, maybe Cobra Gold Marines or something. But those guys were so badass. They would rather die than lose. I mean, they had that mentality. And it came from the history of that Nikanom Tome. Nikanom Tome ended up beating 9 Burmese Mons, killing them when they were at war with Thailand. So they put the toughest Burmese guy against the Nikanom Tome. He killed, after 9 deaths, they said, the king said, okay, truce, that's it. You know, and that's how Thailand stayed out of the war. And if you think about it in terms of casualties, it's a much more humane way to do battle. Only 9 casualties instead of, you know, thousands.
What years were those?
I think it was maybe 1700, something like that.
Okay, well, that's cool.
I got to
That's the way to do it, right? Save a lot of lives.
Yeah, but I mean, that caused, I think, the Thai boxers to have that mentality. Nobody can beat us. You know, when I first went to Thailand, they thought us foreigners were like nothing. You know, that we were weak and soft, and kind of like the kids today, I guess.
But the Dutch, right? Like Raymond Dekker.
Oh, yeah.
Like he changed the game, though, right? He kind of brought some.
Yeah, Ramon Dekker he trained with Kru Walter too.
Oh,
I met him at Sityodtong, actually. And one of my biggest influences too, and I know him too, I haven't seen him in a while, Rob Kamen. Rob Kamen was badass. He trained with Kru Gong too. Yeah, and I think he lived with him for a while. But yeah, the Dutch came over and they didn't want the watered down version. You know, they came over and wanted to fight with the best Thais using elbows and everything, and were really successful. And still to this day, they're, you know, probably the French are really good. I think it's getting much more international now too, especially with the internet. The only problem is technology has also weakened things down a little bit. And it's also, well, soccer is such an international sport that it's...
You're talking about Thailand, right? Thailand grew a lot, and soccer has been growing a lot.
Yeah, so soccer is, now they have Chonburi FC and different like Thai soccer clubs where the kids are probably more into that because maybe there's more money to be, I don't know. Yeah. But did you ever see the Thai kicking sport with the volleyball with the feet? They call it taka.
Yes. Taka.
That shit's amazing.
Yeah. Some skills.
Yeah. I mean, you can see some of the kicks too, like the crocodile neck kick and stuff. They do that. I mean, so we used to play it at Sityodtong camp every Sunday too.
Yeah, that's cool. Man, you know they have the ONE FC, right, in Asia, and they have like of course MMA matches, but then they have Muay Thai, right, like matches, and even Jiu-Jitsu now. So, you know, what do you think about that?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I know Chatri.
He's from a lineage.
Yeah, he goes way back with Kru Walter, and really great guy.
He grew up there, right? And he grew up in the gym.
And he fought too. I mean, he's really spearheaded the martial arts development as of the last few years.
I mean, he internationally. You said he went to Harvard?
Yes.
He went to Harvard, huh? So for a kid from the streets, like grows up in the gym, goes to Harvard.
Yeah, they ought to make a movie about that guy.
That's pretty crazy, huh?
It is. It is. So
these big putting these big events on, and really, I mean, you feel the just the essence of the martial arts, and you know the productions and things that they're putting together.
You do, and I like the message behind it too. It puts out a message of honorable warriors too. You know, there's not a lot of cheap shotting and trash talk. I mean, some of that's okay or whatever, but it's pretty classy. It's pretty good stuff.
Yeah. And they got it on Amazon Prime now.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool. Compared to, I mean, man, back in the day, I mean, where did you watch Muay Thai fights? I mean, they didn't really have it on cable, right? How did you get a hold of footage?
What I used to do, I mean, sometimes you could get like a satellite dish or something.
A satellite dish.
But I used to go to a video shop in Hollywood, and the guy's name was Tony. That I don't know if he's still there. Probably still there too. And I used to rent Muay Thai videos every week, and they would call me, Walter, your video's in. And I would get like
Blockbuster days.
Yeah, kind of like that. And Lumpini Stadium, Rajdamnern, and all these Thai boxing shows. And whatever the new ones in, I'd have them save them for me, and I'd run up to Hollywood and get them.
That's amazing. Man, what a journey. What so many years, so many people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've been teaching for so many years, you know. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy when I think about it, you know. What motivates you after all these years? What motivates you to go in and teach and train these guys? Like you just did a smoker, like this last month. You know that some of the guys from here fought in.
They did good too. It was great. For me, I think Alberto, it's. I mean, I kind of branched out and things change a little bit in terms of like who you train and your clientele and how you evolve and whatnot. I'm a lot more technical than I used to be. I think you caught the tail end of it, but when I first started out, I was still fighting.
The tail knee, tail knees and the ribs.
I just got guys in there, and I would be like, oh, okay, you look about the right size. Put the gloves on, and I would just spar with them. Wouldn't really show as much.
I'll never forget when I brought Rio Shonen in, and you need him in the ribs. He's like, why? Why he knee me?
Well, it was just.
I love it. I love that intensity and
pain's the best teacher though too.
That's what you said.
Yeah, and you
gotta feel it.
Yeah, if people came back at me, that was cool too, you know. But I think I don't teach like that anymore as much. A little bit. I mean, you have to have the fortitude to hang with that type of sport. But I think now it's much more technical. I do still focus a lot on the cultural aspects, but I also I train a lot of law enforcement guys now, and they need it, and they're good customers and they're dedicated, and I have whole families in there. And that's changed quite a bit. And also the fight game it's different now. There are no more smokers. You have to have what's called an in-gym event, or which is kind of like there's no knockouts allowed. So it's like a hard competitive sparring. I mean, you can go pretty hard tagging each other, but it's good because it gets them experience. They have to go through the same weigh-ins and commission and stuff like that, but they're not going to get KO'd in those bouts. So it's a good way to get their feet wet. So that's changed a good bit too. And then there's my martial arts has expanded to, I've been into, I don't know if I started in the dog training when you were there yet, but
yeah, you were.
I got deep into that.
Right.
I trained protection dogs, canines. I was a German Shepherd breeder of high-level working dogs. And
what do you love about that?
To me, it was the same thing. I mean, and now I'm on a competitive shooting team too. I shoot IPSC, USPSA, and I just did the Echo One California State Championships recently. Now I'm going to go out to Utah at the end of this month and do a 2-gun competition there, but that's a whole another thing. But to me, it's all martial arts. I mean, the dog training, I remember when I went out to this famous dog trainer's house, I was training her kids. Her name's Nellie Ratchko. And she had me put on a sleeve and take a bite from this monster Schutzen 3 German Shepherd. And I didn't know anything about it. And I told her, man, this dog's not going to bite me in the face or nothing here. She wanted me to just stand there and have him come up and go into full guard mode. And he was snapping in my face. She was like, no, he knows his job. So, okay, when I give you the sign, I want you to just pop the sleeve up and raise your hand in a threatening manner, and that'll be the cue for the dog to engage you. So, okay, and I did it, bam, and this dog, bam, he hit me like a freight train. And, okay, now straighten your arm, and you'll slip the sleeve, you'll pull it right off of you, and that's his trophy, you know, that was it. I was hooked immediately. It was
that was your first experience.
Yeah,
Like,
it was like the first time I got kicked in the leg doing Muay Thai. It was like, oh, I got to learn this stuff. I mean, and to me, doing protection work, doing bite work was like holding pads for somebody, because your timing has to be there the same way, or like holding boxing mitts. You have to have the correct timing to catch the strikes. So that was it. And then the same thing with competitive shooting. I had a master level 3 gunner that was one of my students when I was still had Sityodtong in Pasadena, and took me out. Hey, Walt, you like guns? Yeah, I like guns. You shoot? Do you have something? Yeah, I do. I can shoot pretty good because I'm from Indiana. It's like we'd be shooting in our backyard and hunting and all that. My dad was a career military guy, so I knew how to gun handling, fairly had the basics. So I thought. So this guy takes me to a shooting match at Prado Running Gun, which I still go to now. So I do a shooting match with these guys out there, and they were really good. I was like, wow. And I was hooked immediately. I told him, man, sign me up for this stuff. I mean, I don't care how much it costs. I'll find the money somehow. You know, and I noticed now most of the competitive shooters, we have sponsors because it's pretty expensive. And the way they sponsor the guys, like now one of my sponsors is Terran Tactical, and I ended up going out there. That guy introduced me to Terran Butler, that, you know, he trains the guys for the John Wick movies. And I ended up doing some Muay Thai with him, and he had some people out there, some actors and some people out there that really talented, that I started working with and holding pads. Next thing you know, oh, Walter, you're not bad. You're pretty decent. I'm going to put you on the team. He made me the jersey with the Sityodtong logo on it, and that was like the next level of things for me. And it was just like another martial art. You know, there's a lot of skill involved, a lot of practice. Same thing like any of our martial arts. We've got to drill it. We've got to do it over and over. Because you know how it is with fighting, Alberto. You don't have time to think about this and that. Oh, I got to do this. Now I've got to move here. I got to put this in. No, it has to be a reaction. So when someone does this, I do this automatically. And that is done through repetition. So
that's it. What are some top moments of your Muay Thai journey?
Well, probably the top of the mountain was when they ordered me to take the Sityodtong name. When I fought at Pattaya Stadium there, and I ended up with the win, and was blessed enough to, have them ordering me to carry the Sityodtong name like that. It was just like, because I was really a student, still am, student of the game big time, and I knew a lot about their history and Kru Walter's history, and to do that, it's just not something they hand out to everybody. The only other one I know in the States is Mark Delagrati. And Mark's another guy too. Speaks Thai, fought in the stadium, has a lot of experience, and he's really opened up into the MMA world now.
Yeah, Kenny Florian and those the guys that he trained for a long time.
Much more than that too.
Yeah. What about teaching? As far as teaching, what are some top moments?
Teaching, of course, making some champions. I've made 15 now, amateur and pro champions both, in Muay Thai and MMA too. But so 15 champions with that, that's been really good. But I mean, for me, just being able to, it's what God put me on earth to do. I realize that now, and to help people, because doing this stuff, and I'm sure you see this also, people start living a healthier lifestyle. They're not, especially with kids, they gain a little more confidence and are more secure about themselves and are able to make better decisions in life. And it's funny how people may think that, you know, you're training them to fight, to kick things, and they're like, wow, and, you know, going crazy, that they're going to be some sort of like mass murder or mental case, but it's just the opposite. We used to talk about that with dogs too. You want your dog to calm down at home? Do some bite work with them, you know, and they're like, well, you're training vicious attack dogs. No, they're around the house. It's like when you were sparring. You're doing some sparring, maybe you get your bell rung. And I remember sparring one time and I was hurting. I was busted up. I'm sore. The birds are still chirping, you know, like bells ringing. I'm driving in the street and some dude cuts me off and he was like, ah, fuck you, puto, get out of the car. And I was like, I had just come back from the gym, you know, and I was like, whatever, man. Hey, sorry I cut you off, you know, and that was it. So if someone says something or does something like that, it's leaves you with a good mindset and state of being, to where, I don't know. I think that it's
peace of mind, self-control.
Yeah, it has a lot of really good effects in terms of stability.
Yeah. What you've been doing it for, you know, so many years. Like, what's the legacy? What do you want to be remembered for in this
Well,
professional?
I'm pretty much doing, you know, what I live in the dream. I mean, I'm blessed to be doing this. You know, it's like you do this type of job when you do something you really enjoy and you like doing. It's like, oh, I get paid too. You know, and I'm not rolling in dough. I'm not like, you know, driving around in, you know, Mercedeses and flying in with a helicopter or anything, but, you know, I'm okay. I mean, it's fine with me, you know, and I think it puts you on a better spiritual path too. But I would like to just continue promoting Thai boxing in America. I mean, I'm American. I'm not, you know, a foreigner. I'm, you know, people may say, oh, he's one of those wannabe Thai dudes or whatever. It's not that. I'm still proud to be an American, and that is just something that I think could accent American culture in a positive way. So if I can build that in the States, that would be like my continued goal.
That's it. Well, thank you for all the work that you've already done to build that, you know. Thank you for the work you've put into me and all the, you know, traveling with me and helping me with, you know, without making much money or no money, right? I mean, all these guys, you know.
If it was about the money only, we'd be barking up the wrong tree.
I appreciate all the love and care and hard work you've put into me, and all, you know, I've seen you do with so many other people all around LA, you know, and appreciate everything.
Well, thank you, Alberto, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be here. It's good seeing you once again, and I'm proud of you and, you know, the legacy that you've achieved here too, man. So I'm honored to be part of it.
Yeah, we'll look forward to having you out here to hopefully help us out with some of your magic.
Let me know whenever.
Where's your gym at?
It's in Monrovia.
Monrovia.
Yeah.
Great.
It's in Monrovia on a little street right off of Myrtle, Taylor Street, 260 Taylor Street. You can get www.sityodtongla.com. And you can Instagram, which is official_Walter SYT. Because we all know what the SYT is. And then Facebook, Walter Michelowski.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.